So we should be live in a few seconds now. Okay. Welcome to this episode of Healthwatch Bury Live. Today we're live with Nicola from Bury Hospice. I'm just going to load up my introductory slides for today's session. So hopefully you can now all see these slides. So before we begin, I just want to go through our sort of guidelines for commenting today. We welcome your questions or comments about Bury Hospice, but please remember to be accepting, respect people's boundaries, and don't intentionally be rude to provoke a conflict in the comments today. Remember, don't flood the chat. It's not a place to promote your products. And remember, this is a public space, so make sure to keep your language clean and suitable for all ages. So just a brief overview of today's session. So I'll do an introduction to Healthwatch Bury in case you haven't come across this before. And then Nicola has a short presentation about Bury Hospice for you. And after that, we're going to have a Q&A hosted by our volunteer, Steph. So if you have any questions for Nicola about Bury Hospice, please pop them in the comments below. So who are we? We're Healthwatch, your local health and social care champion. We cover the Bury area and we're part of a local network of Healthwatch. And we make sure that NHS leaders and other decision makers hear your views and opinions on using health and social care services in Bury. And we can also provide you with information and advice about local organisations. So today we're sharing information about Bury Hospice with you. So just briefly to expand on how we can support you as an individual. So we can provide you with information and advice about local support groups, such as bereavement support groups, cancer support groups. And we can also help you navigate the health and social care system. And that's especially important if you've been newly diagnosed with a long-term condition. We can help you with that. We can also listen to your experiences of using health and care services. Usually we'll do that in the form of our surveys. Our latest survey is on young people's mental health. So if you have a few minutes and you are a young person in Bury, please take some time to fill that out today. But obviously you can always contact us via telephone or email about any topic that's concerning to you right now. So I'm going to briefly share our contact details. I have put them in the description box of the video today, but just in case you want to jot them down now, our phone number is 0161 253 6300. Also have a new WhatsApp, which is +44 73 77 45 44 46. Email is info@healthwatchbury.co.uk. We also have various social media channels. If that's the way you'd like to receive your information, we do post regularly on all these channels about local support groups and events and that type of thing. So on Twitter and Instagram, we are at Healthwatch Bury. This is our Facebook page. If you're watching live today, make sure you give it a like because we do post a lot of information on here as well. Our YouTube channel is Healthwatch Bury, and we'll upload this video to that channel afterwards today. So if you can't stay for the full session, you can catch up on YouTube afterwards. And our website is healthwatchbury.co.uk, and on there we have a lot of information about local services and groups and that type of thing. So now I'm going to hand you over to Nicola, who's going to be telling you a bit more about Bury Hospice.
Thank you.
And I'll just get your slides up now, Nicola.
Thank you.
So hopefully you can see those slides now.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. And thank you for inviting me to come and speak on today's Healthwatch Live. So as you say, I'm going to talk a little bit about Bury Hospice. So Bury Hospice has been around for 30 years. We celebrated our 30th anniversary last year, which we've very much focused on celebrating the brilliant work that's gone before and building our future. So celebrating our past and building our future. So we did start with 4 beds back in 1991, and that was in the old site on Dumas Lane, which is that top picture that everybody will be able to see there. And as a 4-bed hospice, it was started very much as a community focus, which is very much what we do today. But lots of fundraising happened and lots of people got behind a new build and a new hospice and an increased number of beds to support the demand for beds at the hospice at that time. So in 2013, the hospice moved to our current premises now, which is in Rochdale Old Road, just near to Fairfield Hospital, which is the building in the picture at the bottom. And we still do the very same ethos to our care as started back in Dumas Lane. And that is to provide care and support to adults diagnosed with a life-limiting illness. And that's any life-limiting illness. So lots of people do link Bury Hospice or hospices in general with cancer and with cancer diagnoses, but actually we provide care and support to anybody with any life-limiting illness. And I think also people tend to think that we also deal with just around end of life, but actually we support people sometimes right from diagnosis, right through an illness for periods of time. Sometimes we'll provide end-of-life care to those patients and families as well, but also we provide bereavement and remembrance as well. And sometimes patients and families are known to us at varying stages. So it's any adult and their family and those closest to them with any life-limiting illness. And in doing that, we have to raise quite a lot of money to keep us going. So we are a community service and we do get some statutory funding. However, 87% of the total cost of the hospice is raised by our community. So when I talk about us being a community asset, it truly is. We're here because of the community and we're here very much for the community as well. And we have around 80 staff that deliver our care and services and over 400 volunteers that support the hospice as well. So those staff and those volunteers and together we provide lots of current services. We've had lots of development in recent years because we've noticed that a lot of shift for care is around patients' homes. Patients and families tend to want to be at home and hospice care can reach out into patients' homes and we can invite people in to the hospice, not just for inpatient care, but for lots of other services. And that's where we focused in the last few years. So we currently do have an inpatient unit, which I think hospices are traditionally known for. So we have a ward that is quite state of the art, really. We've got some fabulous facilities and we currently operate 6 beds. So we've room at any one time for 6 patients and families. We have family rooms so that families can come and stay with loved ones as well. And we have a communal kitchen and areas where people can relax and rest and be together. And we do really try to, what's really important to us is what's important to the patient and family. So the experience that people get is very much tailored to them. And it isn't the same for every one person. It's very much different. And sometimes that can be moving out with the family, or it can be just some very quiet space and time to reflect on what's important to them. So we've currently got 6 beds, but we are hoping that in the near future, we'll have a funding model that will get us up to at least 10 beds. So that's our aim, to increase our bed capacity. We also deliver outreach services. So we've got a community team of support workers led by a nursing team that go out into patients' homes. And that service really is very much around capturing people at all different stages of their illness, but where it's become a little bit more difficult at home. They might need a little bit more of education or support or somebody to talk to enable them to keep going throughout their experience and their illness. And sometimes that is respite as well. So we do respite sits for patients and families at home to enable them to continue with a way of life in coping with their illness. We also have some supportive care services. So supportive care is part of palliative care, but it's around bringing people into services when it's not time for them to be at end of life, when it isn't just the diagnosis that they've just been diagnosed with. It's a time when they need that little bit of extra support, and that might be complementary therapy to run alongside their existing treatments and therapies. It might be that they need support from our hospice liaison nurse to help navigate them through some of the experiences that they're going through, that then they might need access to a hospice service, they might need support in accessing an outpatient appointment with the consultant, or they might just need somebody to talk to help to listen, to understand what's happening for them and how they best might get through that time. We also have an education service, and that's very much around maintaining the knowledge and skills and expert knowledge of our staff and volunteers, but it's also around sharing that knowledge and skills with the community to help empower and educate people to continue to care. Because we know that lots and lots of people are informal carers. They're in a caring situation because of a diagnosis of a loved one or somebody that they care very much about. So we see our role in trying to support people to continue to do that. And we also have medical outpatients. So it's not, I think people tend to think that the hospice where you come in to see a doctor and you stay, but actually we have an outpatient facility where you can be referred, as you can for all of our services, from any health professional that knows you, and access a little bit of support with some symptoms, or it may be that you need to talk a little bit about what you'd like to happen and plan for the future, and we can do that in our outpatient clinics as well. And also we do provide bereavement and family support. So our bereavement and family support service is for patients with a connection, patients and families with a connection to the hospice. They don't have to have been in receipt of one of our services, but they may have a connection to the hospice in another way. And the support there is very much individuals. We have one-to-one counselling support. We also have a lot of group therapies. We have bereavement cafes. We have a walk and talk group in conjunction with Bury Council. And we also run a sunflower group for families to be able to access support as well. And our bereavement and family therapy team, they also support internally with things like mindfulness to support our staff to continue to do what they do really well. And most recently, we've also signed the Homeless Pledge to be a homeless friendly hospice, to look at ways in which we can be inclusive of our homeless community to access the right care and support when they need it. And we also have recently started to launch our Living Well Centre, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that and where it's up to on our next slide. So it's really important for us as a hospice to partnership with other people, because we are quite small. Although I've talked about quite an array of services, we're still quite a small organisation compared to big hospital trusts and things. So it's really important for us that we collaborate and we work with other people. So we do a lot of work alongside other charities, alongside other community groups, but also alongside other hospital trusts, because what's really, really important to us at the hospice is that we do everything we can to support patients and families, and sometimes that means enabling other things to happen in partnership with others. So we do have a partnership with the Christie, and the Christie hold 2 clinics here in our Living Well Centre every week on a Tuesday and a Thursday, and people who are under the Christie for treatment, after their initial treatments, first treatments, some patients can be offered to have their treatment closer to home. And there's a real buzz about the hospice when people are coming in for their treatment. And a gentleman did say to me last week that actually it's revolutionised his treatment being able to come here, because his journey to the Christie is no longer taking up the whole of his day, and he's really enjoyed his experience coming into the hospice. And that has meant that we've also been recognised for the work that we've done as well in our Nursing Times Award. So picture there of our patients and families up in the Living Well Centre, and of course myself and a colleague at the award ceremony at the Nursing Times Awards. And so it's really important that the hospice, because we can't be everything to everybody, but we can be a lot to a lot of people, and we can do that in partnership with other people too. Thank you. So I talked a lot as we've gone along, a little bit about all our services, but to deliver any of our services, we really, really need our staff and volunteers. And we're really lucky to have a really dedicated team. It really matters to everybody why they're here. And that's from our bridal shops, so the ladies in the shop that sell wedding dresses and bridal outfits, to our team on our inpatient unit, to our governance and compliance team, to our outreach team, to the wonderful volunteers that we've got, and to the staff in our kitchen and our volunteers on reception. So everybody works together, and without everybody working together, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So we're very privileged to have a real mixture of knowledge and skills across our wide team. So we do have to raise funds. As I talked earlier, lots and lots of our funding comes from the community. And those are some of the ways in which our fundraising team and our income generation team look at. And we're very, very lucky that we get lots of support from people who've had care from us, and people whose loved ones have experienced end-of-life care with us. And we're very, very privileged that they want to support us moving forward. And we also find that lots of people who've been affected and treated within the hospice actually come back and want to volunteer and want to fundraise, which is really important and we're really grateful for. But what's even more important to us at the hospice is what our patients and families tell us. So it's really important that we collect feedback about our services, and we want to know when we've got things right, but we also want to know when we could have got things a little bit better. And so we engage with a I Want Great Care, which is available online, and we also take feedback from all our patients and families that use our services. So there's just some there to talk about the impact in which the hospice has had on somebody's experience, which has been really, really positive. And I think the important thing that we have at the hospice is that we all understand why we do what we do. And the picture there is Sue. Sue is our hospice liaison nurse that I talked about earlier. And we asked everybody during International Nurses Day last year what being a nurse at the hospice really means. And Sue there is one of many of our nurses that put something very, very similar, that it's a privilege to be involved in people's care and in their life at a really difficult time. And we do that because it matters to patients and families. We do it because everybody deserves the very best care that's available to them. And whether that's that we deliver that or we support somebody else to deliver that. And we also do it because we've only got one chance to get it right. So anybody with a life-limiting illness, we have got one chance to get it right, and the hospice is here to support anybody to try to get it right for that person and family. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicola. That's been really informative, and well, congratulations on celebrating your 30th anniversary last year. I have got a few questions.
Yeah, that's great.
You talked about obviously like your fundraising events. So what example could you talk me through some examples of events you've had? Am I right in thinking that Bury Hospice have had Strictly Come Dancing events?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's one of our biggest events, the Strictly Come Dancing, and it's everybody's favourite because it's a favourite from on the TV as well, isn't it? So everybody gets behind that. And I think last year we raised over £50,000 in our Strictly event. So it's really popular. They've tried to get me doing the Strictly a few times, but I've since resisted. But yeah, that is one of our biggest events. We've got a comedy night with Colin Manford, so Jason Manford's brother, this weekend coming. We had a Robbie tribute night last weekend. We've got a sportsman dinner coming up. We've got a ball coming up. We've got a memory walk in March. So there's lots and lots of ways in which the hospice hosts events to raise income. But what we're really lucky with Steph as well is that people in the community also do fundraising, and it doesn't matter whether it's £5, £1, £100, it all really makes a difference. So at the moment we've got a campaign going for 100 heroes, our 100 heroes. So people are pledging to raise £100 in whichever way for recognition of being a hospice hero. And we get lots of people who you know, have a quiz night in a pub and bring £20 that they've raised, or do a football card, or sell something that they've made and donate it. So there's lots of ways people can get involved, and lots of ways in which the hospice hosts events to bring money in as well.
Thank you. Obviously, the past 2 years with the pandemic and that, it's been really challenging. You know, hospitals and hospices haven't been able to have any visitors because of restrictions. So I suppose that has had a bit of an impact on you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I think you're right, Steph, in saying obviously it's impacted everybody, hasn't it, in whatever work they do, but particularly health and social care, because it has meant there's been restrictions on visiting. And what we do usually here at the hospice is we don't have any restrictions on visitors. People can come and go at whatever time is right for them, and they can stay as long as they like, and they can bring pets and all sorts, so that we can try and support somebody to feel like they're in their own environment. And through the pandemic that was hard, because we did have to restrict some visiting, and for a period of time in the very beginning we were advised not to have visitors at all. So as you can imagine, for somebody who is very unwell, or perhaps at the end of their life, that was really quite challenging for the staff, and obviously very much for the patient and family. So we did adapt ways of trying to use digital. So we did use FaceTime and iPads and phones, and then when we were able to, we used our outside space as well, because we're lucky that each room has got an outside terrace as well. And more recently, we've been able to introduce visitors, and we're now back to having an open visiting policy. However, visitors are asked to do a test when they come into the hospice at the moment. So it has had an impact very much on patients and family experience, but we have really tried to do what we can within the guidance to make sure that we quickly change to the guidance as it evolved, but also that we listen to what's really important with patients and families. And sometimes that's meant that we have had to work within the guidance, but in a way that supports the patient and family, really. And I think it's also impacted very much on the team, because we do really care about what we do, and when we don't do things, and we have to do things that are not perhaps how we normally would, it's impacted. But I'm really proud of the team, because they've stepped out of their comfort zone a little bit, and they've also continued to deliver really good care. But I think we've probably also learned a little bit about the benefits of digital methods of communicating. So even like today's session, we've done training sessions like that, and we've you know, supported people in an outpatient clinic like that, which we probably wouldn't have ever done before. So I think there's been some positive things that we might take forward, and some things that we're absolutely glad we can get back to normal with.
But that sort of leads me on to my next question, Nicola, because we know that hospices aren't for all end of life, but I suppose if you have been caring for someone who is at the end of their life, and you know, they do die, I suppose that would have a bit of a negative impact on the staff that's supporting them. So is there any help and support available to them if and when that does happen?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a bereavement and family support team. So they run, and we've found that we've needed to increase the number of people we can support during since COVID as well, because I think you're right, that has impacted very much on people's experience. And your experience at the end of somebody's life lives with you, doesn't it? You know, so if you've lost a member of your family or somebody very close to you, the memory of that and that experience lives with you. So people have needed that little bit of extra support. So we have one-to-one counselling support that people can be referred for, which is often patients and families that have come through our hospice services. But the bereavement cafe, the groups, and the walk and talk group has been very popular in getting outside, because exercise is good for people's mental health as well, isn't it, and coping with things. So we've put extra groups on for that as well, and that's available to anybody. And our sunflower group for families, that's we've got a waiting list for that at the moment, so that's been very popular. It's one of a kind. We don't have anything else like that locally, and that's really, we've seen the impact on families, particularly over Christmas time as well, because that's an important family time as well. So we were able to support extra people during that time as well.
And how long has your partnership been with the Christie? Because that's revolutionised how people view treatment. Because, like you said about the gentleman, you know, they're less stressful, and because we don't have to travel to the Christie. And I suppose because the Christie's the other side of Manchester, isn't it? So
Yeah.
that's a really good partnership and a real positive thing, I think, anyway.
Yeah, it has. It's been really positive for patients and families. And so we started, first of all, in 2019 with a partnership that was just around people accessing a blood clinic, so a phlebotomy clinic. And that was mainly because when people have the treatment, they have to have bloods done the day or so before, and then the treatment. So that's 2 trips. So first of all, we started with the blood clinics that people just had to make 1 trip, and they could have the bloods before the treatment here. And at that time, there was also a chemotherapy clinic at Townside in Bury. So then when they looked at increasing the capacity, because it was really popular and more people wanted treatment, we had a bigger room here at the hospice in our Living Well Centre. So from 2020, we started offering a day of chemotherapy where the Christie host their clinic here with us. And since the last 6 months or so, we've done 2 days of treatment and bloods. So it's really popular. And I think in the last 3 or 4 months, we've had over 600 people come through for treatments and bloods. So it absolutely has made a difference. And the gentleman that I was talking about before, he's one of lots of people who've come in and felt a little bit more at home. It's not big like a hospital where you're having to navigate yourself from room to room. You're not in a big waiting room of people, and you get seen quite quickly. I'd say probably lots of them would say one of the drawbacks ever so slightly is the fact that we've not got enough car parking spaces.
Right.
But that's I think something that is the world over, isn't it? There's never quite enough parking, but it is something that from a hospice perspective, we are looking to regenerate our car parking to facilitate more spaces. So
thank you. And how can people contact you, you know, if want to get in touch?
Yeah, I should have done a slide, shouldn't I, at the end with all our contact details on, but perhaps I can send them for you to post on the Facebook page. But yeah, we have a generic email and contact number, but I can send out so that you can put them up for everybody to see.
Okay, thank you. Well, I don't have any more questions. I don't know if anyone in the audience has anything. Has anyone?
No, those were all the questions that we have for you, Nicola. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for joining us today.
Thank you. It's lovely to meet you both.
Thank you.
So I'll just end the live now. Thank you so much for joining us today, Nicola. Thank you, Steph, for your time as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, likewise.
Bye.
Bye.